Tell me, could you say yes to your child or grandchild if they asked you to play catch with them right now? If you're dealing with medial epicondylitis, otherwise known as golfer's or baseball elbow, the answer is probably no. That's not something you should ever have to experience and something I never want to have to experience. However, if I don't make a change right now, that is going to be my future. Let's talk about medial epicondylitis and how we can change that future. Let me give you guys the scoop on medial epicondylitis. So what it is repeated inflammation and damage done to the tendons of the elbow connecting into the forearm that allow for the wrist to curl as well as the fingers to curl. It's a very common cause of pain in general populations for the elbow as well as in athletes, baseball players and golfers, surprisingly or not. But why? Why does this occur and why is it specifically in the sports of baseball and golf? It occurs because the elbow handles most of the pressure during an overhead throw as well as the swinging motion in both of these sports. During an overhead throw, you cock your arm back, and as you bring it forward, you load the energy from your body into the elbow to allow that throw to finish. So you're using the elbow as the crux to send the energy from your body into the implement that you're throwing. Same idea with a swing. When you pull that arm up for the swing, you're doing the same thing where you're cocking that arm back and then you're using your body to create force and sending that force through the elbow right in that same tension point, creating tension on this forearm and into that tendon. You are creating that force and driving it through the club with that. Because of the tremendous amount of practice it takes to be able to master a swing or a throw, this is why overuse injury is so common within baseball and golf for the elbow there. So like we've just said, it can happen from overuse, damage to that area over and over without giving it adequate time to rest. It can also be due to specific injury to that area, allowing for a more easily aggravated area when you do load that elbow. What should you do when you start feeling this pain and you realize that it is golfer's elbow or baseball elbow? You're going to stop doing upper body exercise or any upper body activity that's exacerbating the pain there. You want to take a nice rest. 2 weeks, a month, let that arm chill out. Things that you can do: get a brace. Getting a brace can help you just keep that arm immobile. If you have issues keeping it immobile on your own, it can be very helpful for just taking a few weeks to just really let everything just rest up, not put any tension on that area. Something else that you can do: number two, you can also heating pad, putting heat on the area, increasing blood flow to it, trying to increase that recovery rate that we can, trying to do as much as we can with that heat and blood flow in there before we actually start moving the muscles inside. Something else: anti-inflammatories. Get these puppies going. Don't go crazy. Don't be a wild child, but definitely try to lower any inflammation that you're dealing with so that you can start to get back to feeling more pain free and then start maybe adding some exercise. Something that I wouldn't recommend unless certain circumstances arise is icing. You should ice only really if you have a crazy amount of inflammation and a lot of pain going on, and you just need to get that pain and inflammation down to go away so that you can actually just think about something else, do a little bit of something else, anything like that. If you do need to ice like that, ice it. Try to take a little bit of time and then go back, give it some heat to increase that blood flow back, increase that circulation again. So once you kind of have started doing all of these things, you'll also start to notice other types of activities in your daily life that start to hurt and aren't helping you heal. So you're going to need to make changes. What are these changes going to be? It depends on who you are, how you live. For me, I use my keyboard a lot. My keyboard is a little bit higher than many, so it put a weird tension on my elbow the way that I was typing and everything. What I did was I got a wrist riser, changing the angle of my arm, taking a lot of that tension off of my elbow, and really just making it much more comfortable to be able to use my keyboard right now as I'm still treating my elbow and still healing. Other biggest one has been changes to my driving. I've had to, instead of using my left arm for most of my steering, which is usually what I do since my right hand is on my shift knob, I am now using my left hand mostly at the bottom and in the middle of my steering wheel, because as I turn the wheel, that tension onto my forearm really starts to activate that elbow pain. So what I've done is I've now been keeping my arm more in this position, keeping my hand at the bottom, while my right hand turns the wheel. So after you've made some adjustments in your daily life and you're starting to feel a little bit better with your pain and level, you can now start looking into some exercise. Make sure that you're not overdoing it right now. See how it feels at first. If you're getting a huge amount of pain, really sharp, really intense, take it chill. A little bit lighter, maybe you just take another week and then come back to trying the exercise again after that week. However, just know this is not going to be a completely comfortable process when you start exercising. So there is going to be some uncomfortable tension within that elbow, but if it is a vast amount of pain, take it easy still. Thinking about some exercises, what would be some good ones for actually treating the elbow? Our goal is to get strengthening, stretching, and blood flow to that area. So don't overthink it too much. We're going to be doing 3 exercises as well as using 3 different tools. Only one of the tools is truly necessary though. So what are the tools? The tools are going to be the one necessary one, which is a dumbbell or a resistance band. The second one would be a straight bar weight. And the third is going to be rubber sticks, which sound weird, but I'll show you later. So what exercises are we going to be doing here? We're going to be doing some easy ones. Wrist curls, focusing on the downward motion. We're going to be doing reversed wrist curls, also focusing on the downward motion, as well as wrist flexor stretches. So when we actually do our wrist curls as well as our reverse wrist curls, we're trying to get higher reps, lower weight, going about 3 sets of 15 for each of those, really focusing on the descent of each movement. So look here on the wrist curl. It's really good to be able to use one of the straight bar weights on this, because what you're able to do is you're able to hold the bar in both hands. You're able to then curl most of the weight with your healthy arm, then release your healthy hand, and then let the weight come down using only your affected arm to control it. Taking this motion slow on the way down, called the eccentric part of the motion, allows for the best form of treatment. We want to do this for both our wrist curls as well as our reverse wrist curls. As you'll see here, I would recommend doing the reverse wrist curls with both hands at the same time, not worrying about switching hands very much. Just trying to gain strength on both of those forearm extensor muscles. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about a more unique way that you can train the elbow and train the forearm. And this is going to be the rubber sticks that I mentioned earlier. So what am I even talking about? I'm talking about these things. These, right here. These rubber sticks are said to be extremely good for helping people who have not had any good results with other forms of treatment for their medial epicondylitis. And the reason for that is being that, like we talked about earlier, we're trying to load this muscle in that downward motion. That's going to give us the best ability to adapt and best ability to handle that tension within that elbow joint. So what do these allow us to do? Exactly that. They allow us to only load that area of the muscle when it's ready to go into that downward position. How do we do that though? I'll show you. So you're going to take one of your sticks. They each have different weights. This one's the 10-pounder. So we're going to grab it in our affected hand, have that hand and wrist, that arm and wrist flexed towards us, just like so. You will then take your opposite hand, bring your arm up and around, grabbing the stick in the opposite way of your affected hand. You will then bring your right hand down, your right elbow down, and twist out, all while keeping your affected wrist curled. Once you're in this position, you are loaded and you slowly twist out with your hurt or affected arm. Again, I'll show you. You're going to have it here. Bring the arm up and around. Twist it out, and then slowly twist out with your affected arm. One more time here, just for the people in the back. Really easy there. Now, if you're going to use this implement, as well as doing the curls, don't overdo it. Like we said earlier, we're not trying to cause more pain, cause more damage. If you're going to do both, I'd say alternate which one you're going to do each day. So say you do Monday is the wrist curls with a straight bar and with the dumbbell. The next day, you're going to do it with these instead. And then the day after that, go back to the curls. Switch it up like that. See how you like it. If you prefer one method over the other, use that. Remember, utilizing these, you're going to want to really focus on that eccentric, that downwards motion, trying to focus and get a 5-second repetition on those as well. Same as we are with the curls going downwards. So go ahead, try these out. I'm going to be testing both these as well as the curls in my own treatment, in my own training, to see which ones I find to be the most helpful. So yeah, I'm going to be alternating like I explained to you guys. Now, finally, we're going to get to some stretching for this. Really easy stretches. You're going to just use your opposite hand. This one is my affected, my hurt arm. You're going to use your opposite hand to push back on that hand and those fingers to stretch out the flexor muscles of that forearm that attach into that elbow. You're going to hold this for about 30 to 45 seconds here. You can have it in different positions, whichever feels the most comfortable, whichever feels like it gives you the best stretch. Now, one that's a little bit more intense is pushing the arm out like so and pulling back on the hand. When I do this stretch, I feel a lot deeper of a stretch than I do when I do it simply overhanded. So go ahead and try that, see if you're able to at that pace. A little variation that you can do as well is pulling back on the fingers alone. So you'll feel the different forearm flexor muscles get stretched out a little bit differently if you pull on these versus if you pull on the outside fingers. You can feel that tension kind of pull in different areas of your forearm. So stretching out each one, giving them a nice time. I'd say do about 5 to 8 of these stretches. Do it twice a day, at least. More is better. Don't kill yourself always just keeping your arm in stretch. That's not going to be great. But doing it 2-3 times a day, 5 times, 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Really making sure that you get some of these going during your exercises when you're doing your curls or your bar twists, your rubber stick twists. Go ahead and just get some of these stretches going. When I'm doing my wrist curls, I've started doing it, my routine, about 4 days ago. I add in a stretch, 2 stretches in between some of my sets. Feels fantastic. When I'm warm and I have blood flow to that area, the stretches do feel better and I'm able to get a little bit more out of them, stretch the muscle a little bit further because it is a little bit more flexible there. But yeah, you guys, that is basically everything that I'm going to be doing and everything that I think you guys should do to try to keep ourselves able to actually throw things, able to pick things up, able to use our arms in the way that our arms are supposed to be used. Now, to do all that, let's recap. First thing you're going to do, right when you start feeling that pain, you're going to rest. Number 2, get some anti-inflammatory meds and some heat. You're going to keep doing this while you're exercising. Don't forget to keep doing the anti-inflammatories and heat. Number 3, you're going to do 5 sets of 45 seconds holds on your stretch twice or more daily. Fourth, you're going to do 3 sets of 15 wrist curls focused on the downwards, the eccentric part of that movement. Now you're going to do 3 sets of 15 reverse wrist curls, same focus on the downwards part of the movement. And finally, you can do 3 sets of 15 rubber stick twists, 5 seconds down on that as well, trying to only load during the downward movement. Now, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and if you got anything out of this and you were able to use this, please leave a comment, subscribe, share this with a friend that may also find it useful. And if you'd like to see any more from me, I will be updating this and giving you updates about how my training's going, any modifications I have to this, as well as the results from this training in the future. So subscribe to see that, as well as any other content on other joint pain, as well as other fitness related videos. If you'd like to work with me, you can check my link in the description to book a call for a one-on-one video to take your next step in either getting rid of your joint pain or taking your training to the next level. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.